Also, I have started the recording for the webinar so that those persons who are unable to attend, they are able to see this webinar at a later stage. And we are also doing a live stream of this webinar on our Facebook as well. There are a few persons who are not able to hear me, it seems. Let me just take this poll again. Okay. If you're able to hear me, please click on yes. Okay. Viren, if you can just write it on the chat window for those who are not able to hear me, maybe they should either check their audios or maybe restart and join in again. Okay, so thanks everyone for being here, for coming for and attending the webinar. Thank you very much. And again, quick introduction. I'm Captain Gaurav Rana. I run Sea and Beyond, and we, in collaboration with University of Gibraltar, are conducting a webinar on how do you enter Merchant Navy, and one of the courses that the University of Gibraltar is offering, which is the MSc Honors Maritime Science with Cadetship program. So you may so you can after this webinar you will be able to understand that how through this university you can enter into Merchant Navy and what are the advantages for it. If we move to the next slide, please. All right. Why are we doing this webinar? A lot of you, we've got a lot of questions also that people maybe know a little bit about Merchant Navy. They may know a little bit about how to enter into Merchant Navy and how is the career moving forward, but you are sometimes not able to hear it from the experts directly, right? So what we are doing is, by calling the people from the university itself, we are able to increase your awareness by providing information from a very, very relevant source. And the idea is that you can then take a well-informed decision, right? Some do's and don'ts for you all. Speaking rights is only to the host and presenters. You communicate through the chat window, please. So if you have any questions, you can write it in the chat window. Please rename yourself. Sometimes iPhone or maybe the name of the phone or the laptop comes through. So if you can have your names, that would be better. You can keep on submitting questions in the chat window during the webinar, but try and make it a little generic in nature, because we have others in the webinar as well. Our focus will be on you for the webinar, and please be mindful of others as well. So ask generic questions, and we will share the slides with you later in the after the completion of webinar as well. So let me take a quick poll on the audience. So what are you currently pursuing? So we just want to understand, have you just passed your 12th? You are an undergraduate, you're a working professional, or maybe you are a guardian of a student. So if you can answer this poll. Okay. So I'll encourage as many persons to answer the poll as possible. We've got about 60% of people who have answered. Can we have a few more answers, please? All right. So let me just end this poll and sharing the results. So most of you are either on the 12th standard or below. and there are very few who are, undergraduate or working professionals. So that's the current audience that we have. We'll probably have more persons joining in over a period of time as well, in the next few minutes as well. So if we move to the next slide, please. And let me introduce to you Captain Sukhjit and Crystal as well, who are from the university and who will present the webinar. Captain Sukhjit is a master mariner. He has 25 plus years of experience, and about 8 to 10 years he's been ashore. He's the director of the course of the maritime subjects as such from the University of Gibraltar, and he'll essentially run the course in the university. And Crystal, she's typically been in the finance side. She has about 8 years of experience, and she's the registrar at the university. So welcome, Captain Sukhjit and Crystal, and maybe if I can just take one quick poll on how many of you have heard about the University of Gibraltar, and do you guys know where Gibraltar is? So if you guys can answer this poll question, and then I'll hand over it to Crystal, who can then talk about more about the university as such. So look for as many responses as possible, please. Okay. All right. So let me end this poll and share the results. So interestingly, a lot of persons have heard about University of Gibraltar, but few of them know where Gibraltar is. So that's an interesting fact. And yeah, I'll stop sharing the results and over to you, Crystal, now.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, hopefully we can give you a bit more information about the university and definitely show you where Gibraltar is, since it's part of my section. So I'm just going to start. I'm going to give all of you an overview regarding the University of Gibraltar and a few other things that are our key points or key selling points for you as a student. And then Captain Singh will follow with more information regarding the maritime program itself. So our university was established in September 2015, so we're quite a new university. And our principal mission is to respond to societal needs and shape personal and professional futures. And we are a British overseas territory, so we follow the UK higher education system. And this is just a small quote that was actually sent to us by Guild HE Limited, which is officially recognized in the UK. So we are small by design, strong links to local business, and committed to a high quality provision. So Gibraltar is a small country and our university is small, but that is actually one of our key points and our key selling points, because we want to keep it small, we want to keep it personal, and for students to have that very personal, enriching education experience. Okay. Quality assurance. So we follow the UK higher education system, and we offer, so we are a university who has degree awarding powers. So students would graduate with a degree from the University of Gibraltar. We have recently obtained QAA accreditation. So the QAA is the Quality Assurance Agency in the UK, and the university undertook an audit in the past few years, and we recently were granted accreditation. So that's a big plus. So students coming from the university will know that their quality is the same of that as any other, UK university. Our location. So many of you didn't know where Gibraltar was, and hopefully this slide will now show you. So we are located on the south of the Iberian Peninsula. So you can see this dot here at the bottom of Spain. So we're literally at the crossroads from the Atlantic to the Mediterranean. We are a British overseas territory. So the official language spoken in Gibraltar is English, although obviously due to our proximity with Spain, Spanish is also very widely spoken. So most Gibraltarians, such as myself, are bilingual. It's a very small country, so only 6.7 square kilometers, a population of around 32,000 people, but we also get around 11 to 15,000 crossing in and out from Spain every day for work purposes, because Gibraltar has a very thriving employment environment. We are a very diverse population, so although we're small, Gibraltar attracts people from all over the world, and it is a very safe community. So crime rate is practically zero, and it's very safe, you know, to walk alone, even in the middle of the night. Gibraltar has its own airport, so we are a 2.5-hour flight from the UK. So that typically is the best option for those coming to study in Gibraltar is getting a flight to the UK. There is also an opportunity, obviously, to fly to Spain, but any flights through Spain require a separate visa because it's a Schengen territory. Okay, next slide. Here are just some photos of Gibraltar. Oh,
sorry.
It's okay.
This is, yeah, okay.
So some photos here of Gibraltar, you can see at the top, it's a peninsula. So we are attached to Spain, but we are effectively surrounded by sea. The only part that attaches us to land is that border crossing with Spain. You can see there's a very big rock. So that is the famous rock of Gibraltar. I'm not sure if you've heard of that. You get some photos there showing some of our beaches, some trails up to the top of the rock, some of our parks. Gibraltar, although small, I mentioned it's a diverse, multicultural population. There's also a lot of history. So it was a very important location for purposes of you know, 18th, 19th century. So there are a lot of old features in Gibraltar, some war tunnels. So there is a lot of heritage involved as well. Okay, next slide. Our campus, so you can see here, that cricket pitch that you see there is just adjacent to our campus, so it's a big sports facility. Our campus is just beside, so it's practically a very new campus, so we were only established a few years ago. We've got leading edge facilities. I don't know what's happening.
Something, sorry, I think there's some auto timing on some of the slides.
Okay. So historical features, the campus was actually a bomb-proof shelter in the 18th century. So it's got lovely, a lovely architecture combining the historical features with the modern ones. And you see some photos in some of our next slides. Okay, next slide. Here are some keys or some 7 reasons why students would choose our university. So firstly, I've already explained, we're aligned to the UK in terms of standard, academic excellence and quality. Secondly, we only accept a maximum of around 25 students per classroom. So we want to keep our class sizes small because we want to offer students that very personal learning environment. We've got cutting edge facilities. So because our campus is quite new, everything is relatively new and cutting edge in terms of our educational facilities and also any other facilities on campus. Gibraltar has a very vibrant economy. So we attract companies from all over the world. Although again, we're only 6.7 square kilometers, but our GDP is actually very, one of the top worldwide. International impact, again, we do have, you know, big names here, the likes of PwC, EY, Deloitte, all of the big accounting firms. We've got international online gaming firms that are based here as well. And obviously, because it's thriving in terms of the organizations that come here, that affects employment opportunities. So students are also able to work part-time during their studies, should they wish. And it's fairly easy for them to obtain a job to be able to get that extra support during their studies. And lastly, we offer a sunnier student experience compared to the UK, obviously. So because we are based in the Mediterranean, we offer a Mediterranean climate, which is around 300 days of sunshine a year. So regarding visas, students from India who wish to apply obviously have to apply for a visa to come to Gibraltar. This is slightly different to the visa process that you would expect if you go to the UK. So it's not a tier 4 visa. It's a visa to a British Crown dependency, Commonwealth country, or British overseas territories. Obviously, students who want to then proceed, submit an application, the university and Beyond will assist students in their visa application. Here are some photos of our accommodation. So this is just a 2-minute walk to the university campus. It's called Europa Suites. They're all studio flats. So as you can see, they're very nice. They're self-contained flats. So they have their own bathroom, kitchen. Students can also share. So you can have 2 students in one room in order to make the price a little bit cheaper. Okay, that's it from me. I'll pass through to Captain Singh. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Crystal, and good afternoon, everyone back in India. Before we start on the program, I would like to know that how many of you actually know about Merchant Navy. So Gaurav, can you put the poll, please?
Sure.
Can we
The
have?
question is, are you aware about Merchant Navy? Maybe through a friend, family, or you've just heard of it, you're not aware of it. And do you know about the international options in Merchant Navy as well? And yeah, by international options, we could possibly mean that, any universities in which are providing Merchant Navy courses.
Okay, great. Let me know, Gaurav, once you have the enough response.
Sure. I have the response and I've shared the results. About 40% of persons have had a friend, family in the Merchant Navy.
That's great.
Yeah. And many people do know about the international options in Merchant Navy. Not sure whether they meant about the university or just that Merchant Navy, you can roam around.
Yeah, no.
With that.
Yeah, no problems. Thank you so much. So it's good to know that many of you are aware about what exactly is Merchant Navy. So maybe our this will be easier now to understand this. So quickly, if you can type in chat, what is common among all these pictures which you are seeing here? I'll give you 1 minute. You can type it in the chat. What do you think is common in all these pictures, all the participants? Anyone? Okay, good. So we have one response, products, or what is common in these products? So there is a good question to ask that these products they use raw material, they end up as a finished products and then they reach markets all over the world, right? So a good question to ask is how do they travel around the world? Where they are manufactured, from where raw material is coming, and then the final product is sold, right, to the consumer. So you will see there's a array of products, right, from steel coils, automobiles, oil, LNG, even our everyday products which we use. So shipping facilitates this trade. Maritime is basically, if we know about Merchant Navy already, So the question is, what does Merchant Navy do? Merchant Navy facilitates this wider global logistics supply chain. So if there are no ships, there will be no trade, right? And that is to again give you an idea. If I would say is there's a huge amount of trade which is done by the ships. Now, to get an idea on these ships, Gaurav, can you put the next poll? Means let's see how many people know about how many ships are there, you know. What is the volume of the trade? Good, I'm seeing a quick responses here.
That's a good question. What percentage do you feel of the volume of international trade is carried by at sea? So do you think it's about 40, 60, 80, 90? If we share the results, about 30% of you feel it's 90%, the rest 30 feel it's about 80%, and about most of the persons feel it's 40%.
Okay, thank you. So somewhere closer, right? I mean, I'm happy to again see the awareness on this. Usually many people are not aware of the ships once they are away from the site, once they sail out. So I mean, yes, this is another poll you can put in there. How many ships are there which facilitate the trade? So here, I mean, almost 80%, 80 to 85% trade by volume is facilitated by ships, and 70% by value. So it is not that it is only cheap stuff or raw stuff which is exported by sea. So expensive goods are also transported by sea. And as you can see now on this question, which is now on poll, there are almost close to 100,000 ships which are facilitating the trade. You can share the results, Gaurav, on the number of ships.
Yeah, it's evenly distributed.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So you can see here there are about 100,000 ships, 99,800 to be exact, early this year, figure from UNCTAD. So all these ships facilitate the trade, and shipping as such is a delivered, I mean, it's a delivered demand. Basically, if there is a demand for trade, there will be demand for shipping, and it is expected to grow. Okay, so why is this important for us to know? Because if we are looking for a career in Merchant Navy, we need to see where the Merchant Navy itself is going. So there is a predicted growth year after year in the number of ships required, because consumption all around the world has been on increase. The commodities are required, so ships will always be required in the business, right? And Merchant Navy is a career which facilitates this, right? So we will see here now what is happening, how the ships move around, right? So if you know about olden times when sailors were crossing, or when Vasco da Gama first reached India, again the origin of that discovery was the need for trade. Europe wanted to trade with India for spices or other stuff. So it was again based on the trade. Or there are other sailors who went around the world in 14th century, 15th century, again looking for trade. But what has happened over the years is how the ships are run, what type of ship, the size of ship, the technology required on ships have changed, right? And this is where we see that the competencies to run these ships are changing. And we have seen where in olden days, people were using paper charts, or they were fixing position using stars or sun in the daytime, and then how it has changed electronically. And now we are talking about more data in the decision making or the support system, how vessels are operated, how the analytics is used, and the integration of technology in running these ships, right? So this has changed as the ships have means when myself and even Captain Gaurav Rana, when we entered the industry 20-25 years back, ships have even changed since then, and they're changing at a very fast pace. So those changing competencies are an important aspect for you to study if you want to work a career in this field, because you need to know that you're prepared for the next version of the shipping, right? Now, what is changing this shipping? I mean, it is no more where sailors go with the ship and they are on their own and they are not need to make, I mean, these assets, the modern ships itself are, huge investments. The cargo they carry is worth of millions of dollars. So, and what is their environmental footprint, how they are optimizing the supply chain. I mean, now everybody is ordering on Amazon or other digital platforms, but how the goods are reaching from one place to another. So ships and the seafarers are a critical aspect of this wider global supply chain, right? And this is changing the competencies. It is no more that, okay, you know about how to drive a ship or navigate a vessel or you run the engine is enough, right? So the demand from the future seafarers is different. And that's what we see from our experience over the past 3-4 decades, that how the competencies are changing. And at all the core of this new shipping which we are seeing, because we are also calling this decade as a decade of action, where shipping is going to, there's going to be a paradigm shift in how ships are operated, what type of fuels they are using, the amount of cargo, the nature of cargoes, how the trade changes, all that will be integrated. But at the bottom of this, seafarers are at the core of this shipping's future, right? And if seafarers are not prepared with these new competencies, I mean, then there is no market for them, right? So the basis of creating this program as such is also to align your traditional competency requirements to what is needed in the future, right? So here you will see how at the University of Gibraltar, we are looking at the future ready graduates. So how are we doing that? So the program is not only on the competencies which are required by the licensing bodies. For example, now when you drive a car, you need a license, right? So you go to the licensing office, you pass your exam, or you do a driving test and you get your license. But that was a traditional way also on the ships, or if you're aware of the aviation industry, right? Where you have your commercial pilot license or you get your certificate of competency in shipping. But now, if we are looking in future, that is not enough. I mean, even you look at the cars now, cars are changing, right? They're becoming smart cars. So you need to be able to analyze the data. You need to be aware of the new technology which is being used. And this is what exactly is happening on ships. And there is a lot of cross-disciplinary opportunities also. I mean, in our days, if you are sailing, there's only career you are sailing on these ships, or you have an option on the shore side related to maritime operations. But now the cross-disciplinary opportunities have widened up. People are in port operations doing data analytics. People are on ships doing, again, I mean, integrating different types of new technologies. ETOs, I mean, electronics have become a major component of shipping operations. So it is no more a very crude or physical job. It is becoming a smart job, as I would say, and there is an increased cross disciplinary opportunities even there. I mean, if you spend few years at sea and you learn the trade, if you have an entrepreneur skill, you can actually come up with a lot of ideas how to facilitate the efficiency in the supply chain. So it is not only about a one simple job. I mean, it is what you have the capacity to make out of it, right? Again, another thing at University of Gibraltar, what we do, how we are making this program unique, is not that where you spend 3 years studying the theory and then you go and go into the field and you get your internships or get your sea time. So each year you will spend 2 semesters at campus and 1 semester you will be spending out at sea. So you will be either, depending upon what choice you make, if you want to work on ships or you want to work ashore in the maritime, we will arrange an internship for you or arrange a ship for you where you can go and actually practice the theory you have learned. So what happens by the time you graduate, you are already aware of what is going in the industry. It is not that you begin your practical learning when you graduate. You start or your professional career actually begins as soon as you go for your internship on the completion of first 2 semesters, right? Then again, the assessment methods, we have also changed that quite innovatively. So, right, so we don't want to say, okay, the closed book exam is something which we are doing only, or we are only doing assignment method. No, there will be a lot of simulation tests. There will be simulators inbuilt, because again, we need to see that how you are assessed and how you are prepared for the industry is very relevant to what you will be doing on the job, right? So it is not just that where you are prepared theoretically, but practically you don't have the knowledge. So the idea about the innovative assessment methods is that only, and we have the industry backup for this. I will explain as we go further, right? And as I said, experiential and entrepreneurship, work integrated learning, all your 3 years of the study, I will explain in the structure of the program, has a module on work-based learning, right? Now, this is when I see say about the maritime field itself. As some of you said in the poll that you are aware of different options in maritime operations. So the maritime operations, as you are already aware, can be divided into two sides, right? The people who are working on ships and the people who are working on the shore side. Now, if you're working on ship, you can have two options. You can go on the navigator side or nautical side, as we call, or you can go into the engineering side. And if you choose to, if you decide, okay, I don't want to work on ships, but I want to work in maritime sector. So there you can have an option where you can work as a ship agent, or you want to open your own shipping agency, or you want to be a logistics supplier, or you want to work in port operations or a maritime authority, anything. I mean, as I said, ships are only part of a bigger logistics supply chain. So depending upon that, you can choose your career. And this is where the this BSc will allow you to make that informed decision, right? However, if you make a decision to go on the seafaring route, so seafaring route, is basically what we call merchant navy. So you can be a navigation or navigator side or nautical side or engineering. And as you can see here, this is the normal construct of persons who go on. So you will basically be joining during this BSc. Within your first year, you will be joining as a cadet, and you will remain as a cadet all 3 years while you complete your academic phase also and your practical training. And then you will be on successful completion of your exams, you will be graduating either as a junior engineer, which we call as a 4th engineer, or engineering officer of the watch if you go for engineering option, or you will be from deck cadet, you will be going as a 3rd officer on completion of this 3-year training, right? So I will explain a little bit on the program. So in your 3 years of BSc, you have your year 1, where basically when you start in September, we have in semester 1, we have the joint modules. So these joint, when we say about the joint modules, it means irrespective of whether you want to be a marine engineer, or you want to be a navigating officer, or you want to work on the shore side, this is a joint module. It's basically designed in such a way that it provides you an introduction to maritime operations and shipping. So, and we will have experts coming in during this semester 1, sharing their own experience. So it helps you to decide which side you want to go, because many a times, if I can relate, in 95, when even I decided to join Merchant Navy, all we knew was Merchant Navy was okay. I mean, I was not even aware that there is an engineering side. All we knew was the navigation side. So sometimes you come and you're not aware of the sector or what are the options, right? So this program in semester 1, when we do the joint modules, this allows you, if you want to make a switch before you go into the second semester, right? Then as we proceed in other modules, other years, we will have the elective modules. If you choose engineering, you will be doing engineering modules. If you choose navigation, you will be doing navigation. Shore side will be doing the shore side modules, right? So I see there are people raising their hands. Maybe we'll take the questions at the end, Gaurav. And on completion of your academic semesters, you will be doing your internships within each year. So what will happen by the end of year 3, you would have finished you would have finished your academic phase and the practical requirements. so that you will be able to get a BSc degree as well as the professional qualification required for the, say, the certificate of competency required, as we can call in a common language, the is yours, like whether you want to continue to work on ships or you want to switch on to shore. So here is the, you can see the uniqueness of the program, because this is another question where you say, okay, what is different in University of Gibraltar offering? Why I cannot do it somewhere else, right? So what will happen is when you are doing this BSc Maritime degree, over 3 years, you will study all what is required for the, also to obtain your license to work in Merchant Navy during this degree. Plus, we will also prepare you for the licensing body exams. Okay, so our programs are MCA UK approved. So when I say MCA UK approved, MCA is Maritime Coast Guard Agency UK, which is very similar to Director General of Shipping. So we have some feedback. Can I request the participants, please keep yourself muted. Okay. So very similar, as I was saying, to DG Shipping in India, we have MCA UK, which is the licensing body, and the license from MCA UK is accepted worldwide. So you can operate in any shipping company with this license from UK, and our BSc is everything is credited by MCA. So when you study this BSc program, they will have an oral exam at the end of the 3 years. And when you have completed your internship successfully, and now these internships are not that where you go on a ship and just spend your time that, okay, I have spent 12 months on ship or I have spent 9 months on a ship. It is a structured training. You will have some relevant tasks to complete. There will be a record maintained what you are doing when you are on ship. So all that is part of your training record book, right? So once that is completed, once that is completed, you can have your certificate of competency, either as officer of watch on nautical side or engineering officer of watch on the engineering side. Now, if you opt for a shore side, then you will have your BSc honors, plus you will not go for MCA exam. You will have your BSc degree, and with your experience during the internships, you can work for as a ships agent, or you can work for the with companies which are facilitating on the shore side of the operations, commercial or any other aspects, or even maritime law, anywhere here. And Gibraltar being the hub of the maritime operations, we have the assurity that we will provide you these internships and working placements while you are studying your program here. So another thing is this what makes this program more unique is that so they support we have from Gibraltar Port Authority, Gibraltar Maritime Administration. We have Gibraltar Port Operators Association. Basically, anybody who is working in maritime sector in the vicinity of Gibraltar is member of the Gibraltar Port Operators Association. We have a very world-renowned dry dock facility here in Gibraltar known as GibDock. So that also supports our programs. And then for the placements, like our cohort, the current cohort has just finished their exams, and they will be now going for their placements starting next week. So these are the few companies which we are starting with. As you can see, Minerva, Peninsula, Turner Shipping here locally. Then we have Giboil and World Fuel Services. So most of them will be going on these ships within next 2 weeks to finish their first year of their internship and come back to university again in the September for the next academic phase in year 2. Here are some pictures I will run quickly. So it is not only that we teach in classroom. So all your modules will be built in with visits to ships, because we have, as I said, we have the support from the local port, local dry dock, other ships which are coming in here. So usually we will discuss certain topics in classrooms, and then every 2 or 3 weeks, as and when appropriate, we will go. I mean, this is going to increase in future because in the last year, we were more restricted because of the COVID restrictions. We couldn't move much, but still we managed every semester, we manage about 3 to 4 visits. So within 12 weeks, which is about 3 months, we can manage about 6 trips, which helps us to practically see what we learn in the class. So the other requirements, like here, you can see now, if you're working at sea, it is not only about competencies, you will also be trained as a firefighter. So there are many other courses which you need to do, like firefighting, basic safety training, personal survival skills. If you don't know swimming, you will be required to learn swimming, things like that. So all that is built in within this 3 years. So within this 3 years, you are not only studying in classroom, but we are giving you exposure to the industry from all aspects. I mean, as these pictures, as you see, our class is witnessing here the first ship-to-ship transfer of natural gas. Now that is the future fuel, transition fuel, right? So our students have already seen how ships are carrying these, how ships are transferring it. So a lot of our classroom is actually outside the class. Okay, and when I say the classroom, so here you can see some pictures of our classrooms, right? So the first picture on the top left-hand corner is basically the exam room setting. Then we have the standard classroom. Then we also expose our students, because as earlier said, Gibraltar is hub, financial hub, global financial hub, global maritime hub. There are almost 10,000 ships which come to Gibraltar every year, right? So there are a lot of shipping events which are hosted in Gibraltar. And the picture on the left-hand side, bottom corner, you can see is where we expose our students to these conferences. So where their exposure to industry increases, they do some value-added courses, like our cadets were sponsored. So at no cost, they were able to do the liquid natural gas fuel courses, right? So the bunkering operations of LNG. So they could do that course just as a part of their exposure. So it is upfront exposure. So it is not that where you're locked into the academic program for 3 years and then you get exposure to industry. So industry, as I said, we try to bring industry into the classroom. So at the end of your 3 years, you know what you are, I mean, you already know what you are doing, and industry also know that you're prepared for them well. This is our swimming pool facility. I mean, it's a government swimming pool, but a university has the access to it for all the needed training. And as I earlier said, the courses, because you will need to do some safety courses. Plus, if you are not a swimmer, you will need to learn the swimming, right? Then again, some pictures of the practical training. The top on the right side, you can see the means we enjoy one of the best views in Europe. So that is our cafeteria upstairs, where students usually after their class would sit and discuss, what they have studied during the day. As I said, every year about 10,000 ships come into the Bay of Gibraltar, and we arrange visits where students can actually go and see what is happening there, right? And here you can see again the view from the cafe, right? I mean, I just went a little fast because I would like to answer some questions if you will have at the end of the presentation. But here, just from the very brief sneak peek, Gaurav, can we run the poll? How many of you would be interested in doing a maritime program as such?
It brings me back to my cadetship days, and I wish I had that kind of a college and view to honestly do the cadetship. Thanks for the insightful presentation, Sukhjit.
Thank you, Gaurav. I mean, I myself sometimes see how the education has changed. I mean, we at that time we did study. I mean, I completed my studies in India, but now you can see that how the programs can be more enhanced, more industry related, right? Because many things we learned when we actually started our career on ship, but it would have been so advantageous if we knew about those things while we were at the college.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So just the answer to the polls, about 80%, 86% of the people would like to attend the program. And let us just have another poll on to check when would you like to enroll? Would it be this year, next year? Not sure. You still have to decide.
And the best part is, I mean, again, I would say, as this is everybody understands, this is we are presenting from the opinion of University of Gibraltar, and I can tell you from my personal experience, because I have seen universities in UK, all around the world. We want to make this program unique. There is a lot of emphasis on quality. We have very regular meetings with the industry stakeholders, shipping companies, port operators. So we want to give them only 24 graduates or only 20 people every year, but they need to be top of the line. So again, I mean, that is our intent. We don't want to have a class of 80 or 100 people. So we are not behind the numbers. We are behind the quality.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so just we've ended the poll. The results of the poll, about 43% would like to attend this year. The remaining next year, or maybe they're not sure. So, yep. Thanks, Captain Sukhjit, about telling us about the course. The uniqueness of the course, the way you wanted to be a little bit more, intimate with the candidates, the closed group, the placements and all, and of course the wonderful, sceneries, the beautiful pics, and also how practical it is actually. So thanks for giving us those insights.
I will hand over to Crystal now before we open the discussion to let us take us through the entry requirements and the other aspects.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Captain Singh. So entry requirements. For the BSc Maritime Science program, we require an A level. An A level is equivalent to the highest secondary school certificate, or the standard 12. So we require that with an overall average of around 60 to 65%, to include a minimum of 5 subjects at 40% or higher. We also, so as part of the standard 10 or the Indian Certificate of Secondary Education, we require mathematics at 60% or above. Reason being because the program has it's quite heavy regarding the mathematics, so students are required to have that level. If they do not have that level of mathematics, we may still consider their application, but they would have to come before the program starts to do a course, a foundation course, to get their mathematics level to what is required to start the program. Students are required to have strong communication skills, some basic IT skills, and also English at IELTS 6.0 or equivalent. So we accept any other English type of certification, such as Pearson, Cambridge, or even Duolingo. So our application process is online. It's a free application, so there are no costs to apply. As part of the application, students are required to include a personal statement, which typically points out the reasons why they chose the University of Gibraltar, and also the reasons why they're choosing the maritime program. We also require CV and 1 reference All sections of the application form need to be completed. Students also need to submit anyone who already has an undergraduate degree, for example, would need to submit their transcript, certificates, basically anything that would be useful regarding their application. We also advise students to submit early, reason being our class sizes are small. We obviously don't want anyone who is really interested to miss out. The application deadline for students coming from India is the 31st of May. Reason being, Indian students would obviously need to then proceed and apply for the visa. The visa is slightly different to what I mentioned earlier. It's not a UK visa, so it takes around 6 to 8 weeks to turn around. The one positive thing is that because it's a visa for Gibraltar, we pretty much guarantee if a student has an offer for the program, proceeds to submit their tuition fee deposit, so pays for that, and then proceeds to do the visa. If they have all the items that are required, we pretty much say that they're going to get the visa. The rejection rate is practically zero if the student has everything else in order. So that's one very big positive on that regard. Okay, the fees and living expenses. So the undergraduate degree programs are charged at £9,250 per year. We don't charge international fees for students. So our international fee is about £12,500. But for this September, we are not charging international fees. So all students are being charged home fees at 9,250. The university is offering a small discount for students who are applying via C and Beyond of £100 in the first year. So that is an additional discount for students. Monthly living costs in Gibraltar, again, this very much depends on the student lifestyle, but more or less it's around £850 to £1,000 per month. And obviously that includes everything, accommodation and other living costs. And the language center is available for students. Again, you've seen IELTS at 6.0 or equivalent is required for the course. If any student is just below that, we would be happy to accept them on the proviso that they attend the language center to bring that level of English up to the required standard before they start the course. I think that's the last slide from me, so thank you.
Thank you so much, Crystal. You had initially talked about the university. You showed the location. You had shown the beautiful ground over there, and then you later explained about the process of applying the eligibility conditions. So thank you so much for that information. As you had rightly said, Crystal, and to all the participants, whoever is applying through C and Beyond, there are a few assistance that we could provide, starting with a scholarship of £100. Then in terms of financial assistance, there are a few companies which can provide education loans. So that's where we could assist you with. We will just probably connect you to the companies you might not know of who can provide you the education loan. In terms of forex remittance, if you transfer your money through bank, there is a little bit more charges. But if you transfer it through other means, there could be lesser charges, and you could do it from the comfort of your home rather than running around in the banks. So we could help you over there for your remittance of the fees or any other expenses later on while you are studying as well. So we can move to the next slide, please. We can also help you with the visa. So in terms of the immigration, or maybe just this visa for education, I don't think it's a very difficult process, but just in terms of you're doing it for the first time, you need someone who knows about it. That's where we could help you. We are also helping you on the accommodation side as well. If you want any accommodation, there are a couple of companies who have aggregated the accommodation, and you could absolutely go with the college accommodation. But if you want to go out, maybe we could support you. We could support you in your CV preparation or SOP preparation as well. So yeah, I think that's pretty much what where C and Beyond could help. And thanks everyone for attending the webinar. What we will do now is we'll probably take questions. So if any of you have have your questions, you may write it down in the chat window, and we can answer it from there. I'll moderate the session over here. And if you really want to speak, that's also fine. Maybe you just raise your hands and we can let you speak as well. So let me start with probably the first question. And I think, and this might be a question for many other students as well. By going through the University of Gibraltar, as opposed to if we are doing a course in India, are we able to save some time in terms of getting to our officers or engineers license? Is there a possibility that we can shorten that period?
Okay, thank you, Gaurav. I'll answer that question. So as you can see, the program is designed with this the same intent. So what I'll tell is, now there are two things. First thing is, what is the requirement for license? So we know that there is a 12-month sea time requirement for nautical side and 9 months for engineering side, right? So and many colleges you can do a diploma, HN certificate or a diploma, and then you finish your academic phase, and then students keep struggling to get their sea time. So and the end of the time, they may advertise it as a say a 2-year program or 1-year program, 15th-month program, and after that sea time is not part of the program. However, the uniqueness of this program and understanding the challenge ourselves, the sea time is the part of the program itself, right? So sea time is where when you are doing your first 2 semesters, as I said, the 3rd semester, now students are going in a 2nd week of April, and they will be returning sometime in August. So it is their 3 to 4 months we'll try to cover this year, and by the end of 3 years they will have their 12 months of sea time. So at end of 3 years, you're not only ending with a BSc academic award or a education or a degree, but at the same time you have your prerequisite sea time, and if you pass your MCA orals, you have your professional license also. So it is entire. So now here the program is designed for 3 years, and the other reason why we want to keep only 20 seats on each side or 24 seats on each side is, first thing is, as we said, we want to keep our classrooms are small. I mean, this is not we want to keep. For last 5 years, we have been keeping only 24 or 20 to 24 people in students in each class. And we are also aware, I mean, the major problem in many maritime colleges is that they graduate number of persons are not same as the number of berths they can provide. So here what we are doing is, we know that we can cater for so many training berths. That's why we limit our seats. So we want to assure you that we can get you seat time in the due course, so that you will not be spending time waiting for your seat time completion, right? So I hope I answered that part.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, normally it takes about 4 years in India to get to your, at least 4 years to get to your second METS license. So there is a saving of at least a year.
And that 4 years does not include a BSc degree. That includes a diploma.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. So there are a couple of questions which have also come on the chat window. Dinesh is asking, is IELTS mandatory?
IELTS or equivalent. So we said we do accept others, so such as even Duolingo or other English certificates. And again, if a student is not up to 6.0, we can bring them up to that level so that they can start the course.
Right, right. And Rajesh has a comment, he finds it too costly. Rajesh, if you do your maths, if you pass out maybe at least 1 year earlier, the kind of money that you can earn in that 1 year, you'll see you'll see that it will not be costly to you in the longer run. But initially,
If
yes.
I can,
Yeah.
if I can add to that, Gaurav, is see, I mean, coming from, I'm from India, right? So I can understand the cost can be intimidating in the beginning. But after my 26 years in the field, I see this as an investment in your own self, right? So I have realized this. First thing is, if you have a good degree from a good university, it helps you in many ways. So it is not an upfront cost, but it is an investment. And the things have become easier now because you, as I mean, as you said, C and Beyond can facilitate softer loans or anything like that. So as soon as you start earning, because we see, let me give you a simple example. Now the living cost here also is say 850 something a month, but you will not be staying in Gibraltar for the whole year. Once you complete your 2 semesters, you will be spending 3 months on ship, where instead of spending money to stay or food, everything is taken care of, and shipping company pays you a small stipend, actually up to 120 150 pounds a week, right? So you start becoming part of the industry. Now I understand, yes, this can be too costly, but if you compare with the international degrees, if you compare with what is in UK colleges, is 12,000 something. And that is the very reason internally we had discussed, and as Crystal highlighted, uh, we are not keeping any international fee. We have one fee, whether you are from Gibraltar or you are from outside the Gibraltar. We are already giving a lower fees, because we understand these challenges, especially, I mean, coming from where I understand that it can be intimidating. So, I mean, if you compare it to any standard quality university, I would say it is not costly, it is value for money.
Yep, makes sense, Captain Sukhjit. Thanks for the perspective. We have a question from Dinesh. Can a graduate do this program?
Okay. Yeah, Crystal, go ahead.
No, you mean a university graduate?
Yes.
Yes, and what I put, so when I went over the entry requirements, obviously those are the minimum entry requirements. So if that is for students who are coming just after finishing their standard 12, if a student is a graduate and has a degree, I've seen someone has put or commerce or arts stream, yes, we would be able to accept them. Obviously, they would need that minimum mathematics, which is important for the program. And again, we treat every individual, application on its own ground. I've seen regarding age limit, regarding the application, there isn't an age limit. However, obviously the program itself may have some age restrictions. I don't know.
Yeah. So for age limit now, I can share again example, like in my current cohort, we have 2 people who are in their late 30s, right? So there is no challenge as long as what career change you are looking for, right? So there is no age limit as such for the course itself. However, we recommend that during our interview, so we what kind of career are you going to be? A seafarer? Are you looking for engineering side or navigation side, or you're looking for shore side? So during that discussion, we can highlight you if there is a challenge, right? Because sometimes many shipping companies, when they're taking the interns, they have some requirements, okay, say 25 or 27. Some companies have up to 30 years. But then there are companies which have no restrictions. I mean, I have now a 45-year-old cadet who is joining now. He's making a career change. He was working in Navy in the medical sector. He was on a medical ship, and he is now want to go to merchant Navy. So he started last year, and he's 45, and he's joining his cadetship next month. Next week. So there is no limit as from my side, but as I said, the process is, once you make your application complete, you will have one-to-one interview with me. Because again, first thing, we want to ensure that, yes, we want to see exactly what you want to do, where you want to go with this program. And the second thing, if there are any red flags at that time, I will highlight with you. I will tell you very honestly that this is the challenge, and then you can make an informed decision about it, right?
Sure. Thanks, Crystal and Captain Sukhjit. I guess that answers your question, Dinesh, and Parth, your first question as well. Your second question, Parth, good question. Can a commerce or a arts stream student join the course?
Yeah, I think I touched on this one already. It's the minimum entry requirements is what I said. So obviously a student who has or is a graduate from a commerce or arts, is that what this means? It's a graduate, or are they doing the commerce or arts stream at the standard 12? I assume this question was for graduates, which I think I already answered. So a graduate would be eligible as long as the minimum mathematics requirement is filled.
It could be an undergraduate as well. Maybe someone. But the commerce, I mean, if he's how we have in India, if suppose the student has the 10th standard, obviously with mathematics, right? And then in the 12th, 11th onwards, they have selected commerce stream, but they have a mathematics based subject like economics or finance or even the mathematics itself. So we will, I mean, the best answer I would say is once you make an application with your transcripts and let us know exactly what subjects you are doing and how your scores are, so we can help you with that. But yes, commerce, anybody doing a commerce or even arts, it can do because you have the basic requirements of mathematics at
standard 10 level. Yeah.
And worst case scenario, I mean, okay, there is an additional expense there, but the worst case scenario is if you have arts and you still are interested in this field, that is where we have the access course. So basically that is 12 weeks of mathematics and physics just to prepare you for if you want to do this program. Or I mean, once you make an application, we can discuss this, what options are there. But mathematics requirements are there and we cannot ignore that. I mean, it is needed for the course.
Thanks, I noted that, Sukhjit. There are any more questions? Please feel free to write them in the chat. I think one question which comes to my mind is, can a student work while he is studying over there?
So yeah, there is an opportunity for students to work part-time for up to 20 hours a week. Yeah, and the requirement, so it's 20 hours a week during course time, and that can go up to 40 hours a week during vacation time. Obviously, the students during the summer period, they're doing the internship, so they would be very difficult for them to get another employment. But for example, during the Christmas break or any other breaks, they can work a little bit more. Yeah.
So typically our students working also, I mean, while they're studying? And if you can give us a view of, how much can a person, if they are working, how much can a person make while they are studying?
It very much depends. So students that we have now, when they're working part-time, typically they get jobs like in the hospitality industry, something like restaurants, hotels, that kind of thing, which is flexible and allows them to work in the weekends possibly, or things like that. But again, it very much depends. So there are students that do have jobs in other type of firms. The minimum wage here is around £7.50 per hour. So that would be the bare minimum. Obviously, if students are working after hours or weekends, you probably get a little bit more than that.
Sure.
And they would not be taxed, so it's a clean salary that they would get if they're enrolled at the university.
Sure.
The even for the summer jobs or things like this, again, I mean, very specific to the maritime program, because the students which started with a semester in September last year. So we try to, when they need a job, we try to also put them in touch with the maritime stakeholders, right? So for example, if I know that, okay, for sustaining my student needs 20 hours of work is allowed and they need to do it. If we try to see, I mean, I cannot guarantee it, but we have done, because again, the small numbers, where we have tried to link up them with the maritime operators. So like there is a shipping agent, he has yachts coming in, he needs somebody to attend, right? Now, if somebody, a student who is studying on maritime program, it benefits the student because he's learning the business. It benefits the agent because he gets somebody to attend the vessel. So it is not that you would need to work in a hospitality or some non-relevant. I mean, that is the last worst case scenario, you will get those jobs. But we also try to find within our stakeholders, if they need somebody for summer jobs or anywhere, we try to recommend our students.
That's good to know. And another question which comes to my mind is, maybe someone who's a little senior in terms of age, and if he would like to bring his family along. I mean, is that a possibility?
Unfortunately, there would not be it would not be possible for a spouse or family to obtain a visa. It would just be for the student, yeah. Unless if the spouse is able to secure a job here and then gets the visa on that grounds, then that would be possible. But on the basis of the student visa, it's only the student who is allowed to come. A family can obviously come possibly to visit if they apply for a visitor visa. But for a full visa to be here the whole year, it would be just on the student basis, it would be just the student. Again, if the spouse, finds a suitable job here and then obtains visa on a different ground, then that would be fine.
But the visit visa is possible for spouse or family to visit the students during summer or any time during the year, right?
Yeah, just not to live. Yeah.
Not to live, but to visit.
So after 3 years, once we finish our college, and maybe if you want to do a shore job, or maybe if you're going to sailing as well, is there a provision wherein we get a post study work visa for Gibraltar as well?
Yes, it's 2 years. So on the same grounds of the study visa, once the student graduates, they have a 3-month job search period. After that period, if they get a job, they're able to stay in Gibraltar for another 2 years on that same visa.
Okay, thanks. I have a question from Dinesh. Can we get a UK PR, a UK citizenship, essentially, is what Dinesh is asking.
The UK citizenship.
Yeah. So once you since
this is based in Gibraltar, so yeah, it would be Gibraltar, and the student years do not count for citizenship, so they would need to, if they stay here after, they stay here a few years after, then they can apply. But it would be Gibraltar, and yes, once obviously, if anyone gets citizenship in Gibraltar, then they are a British citizen, so it would be the same as having a UK citizenship, which is obviously what I have. It would be the same.
Okay. A question from
No.
Parth: how much time will it take to find a job after completing this course?
Okay. Can I answer this one? So when I say if you're enrolled on this course, so you will be doing your internship with some company, right? Either shoreside or seaside. Now the idea here, what training agreements we are having with the shipping companies is to facilitate your training, but at the same time, they need future officers for their ships and their companies, right? Or executives for their companies. So they also understand that this is their investment in their human resources, right? So I don't see where if you pass your courses, if you clear your exams in a timely manner, you would be on a job as soon as you graduate, because you will be part of that company wherever you're doing your internship and you're doing your final project. So how we see this is that if your performance, I mean, everything is performance based. So if there is no issues on your passing the academic requirements, passing your other aspects of the exams, you should be not looking for a job once you graduate, because you will be already in the pool of that company where you have been working, right? And that's the, again, Gaurav, reason why we want to keep the seats to 24. I'm repeating again and again. The idea is to keep this program as unique it is, not to produce mass numbers where we are not interested, where we bring a student, charge the fees, and then we dump them into market on their own. No, that is not the intention. I keep the seats limited only up to what we need, industry can absorb.
Absolutely. Makes sense. Now, just another question from my end. How much time would it take for processing of the application? So if a candidate submits his application maybe today, how much time would he know about his selection?
There is a bit of, so because we have the Easter break coming up, it may be that we wouldn't get back to them, within the week, but we try to get back to candidates more or less between 1 week. So next week is a short week. We're closed as from Thursday, and then come back the following Tuesday. Typically, the turnaround is around 1 week, where we would definitely get back to the students, ask if they have anything missing from the application, ask for the student to submit. And then the next step would be that we proceed to arrange for a chat. So the student would be called in for a chat with one of our student experience team, and Sukhjit as the program coordinator. And basically it's just a little chat to understand the student, where they are, why they decided to apply, what are their plans. And it already starts that a very personal environment, which we want to host during the study. So in what other university would you get, an initial chat to speak to the program coordinator? That doesn't really happen, when you have these big teams. So it's very much for us to get a little bit more of understanding, and hopefully the student can have any specific questions answered. And then after the interview, we are able to make an offer and then progress it quite quickly. So it doesn't take very long. So we say about a week to get the initial feedback, and then possibly another week to arrange the interview and an offer after that. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, and noted.
And the interview is an integral part of the selection process. So once the student finishes their initial application, now many a times we have seen student makes an application, but it is just an application, but no supporting documents, like no scan copy of their certificates or other documents. So the time is wasted in to and fro. So what I would request here is, if you're making an application and you put all your relevant documents quickly in place, as Crystal said, within a week's time, we will arrange an interview. So our student experience office will give you some times which you can select on whatever is your availability, and they will match it with my availability. And I will have one-to-one interview with you for about half an hour, where we will discuss exactly what is your career plan, what exactly you want to achieve, and what are how suitable you are to the program and program to you. And then we make a recommendation on the offer.
Thanks, and noted. Right. I think that's pretty much it from my side. And I guess we are on time, about 1.5 hours since we started. Don't see any other questions coming on the chat as well. So yeah, I think thanks, Captain Sukhjit. Thank you, Crystal, for taking your precious time. It's a weekend, and it's family time. You've spent that time with us, explaining about the course, about the university. We really appreciate that. Thank you so much to all the participants who took out their time to attend this webinar as well. And if you need any assistance, if you need any, you want someone to talk to, I've been in Merchant Navy. We have enough and more persons whom you could talk to as well. The idea is that we'll help you to take a well-informed decision, right? It has to be the right fitment for you to the university and for the university to you, as Captain Sukhjit had said. So if you have any question, do get back to us. All the participants would have received an email with the phone number and email IDs as well. So yeah, thanks everyone, and let me take a feedback poll as well, uh, just before we leave. So a feedback from all of you: were your expectations met? Yes, no, exceeded? Was the session useful for you? And how would you rate the session? Would you rate it as average, good, or excellent? So I'll request all the participants to answer the polls, please. If you have any feedback in terms of any improvements that you would like from C and beyond, or maybe from the university as such, anything that you would have wanted in the presentation, please write it down in the chat window, or you could email us as well later on. We will share the presentations with you after the webinar as well. All right, we've got about 50% of answer, and let me share the results. I think to most your expectations were met or exceeded. Most of you did find the sessions useful, and maybe the person who probably, if you want something else, you can please write it down in the chat window. We really appreciate the feedback, and it will help us to improve ourselves.
I mean,
everyone.
Yes, as you said, Gaurav, I mean, if there is, because I saw in the results, if somebody didn't find the